Pulsart. Could try going for a Grinfeld here, or not. I think he can still play a Fianchetto here. Ah, this is different. It's not a normal London system, but it's got the knight c3 move in. So there's a simple idea to come in here with knight b5. I mean, that's one of the ideas, just ganging up on this pawn. You know, I could go with d6 and try and play e5. That would make that knight move pointless. Can I play e5 here? Probably not. e5, he takes, I take, he takes. If I had a knight here, I could play it. Let's go for that. And the bishop can get to that square as well. So I could bring my knight out to attack his bishop. Puts the bishop here. I could castle. And then I could still get in e5, I think. Castle, so I can take back with the king here rather than the knight. The knight might want to come back to f6. So what's going to happen here? I go here. He takes, I take, he takes, I take. And my queen will be hanging there. So let's step aside with the queen. Yeah, so let's play e5 now. Got it covered. Ah, he goes there. So where to put this knight? The knight could go to c5. And then that would open up this diagonal for my bishop. And start to put pressure on this pawn. He could chase the knight with b4, but does he really want to weaken his king position like that? I don't know. And now this square is available for my bishop on g4. Also, knight back to f6 will attack the e-pawn. But it will let him push his h-pawn, so probably not a great idea. Another idea here would be to push the f-pawn forward, f5 to f4 to shut down the queen on that diagonal, kind of eliminate any attack there. So what to do here? Bring the bishop out first. In case the knight gets kicked, I want to be able to drop it back. So this makes sense to me. It's also knight to f4, hitting his bishop, hitting the pawn. Yeah, so he's looking at a couple of places here. But first, yeah, I have to save the bishop, so let's do that. Let's jump in with the knight. Hit the queen. Now I can kick this knight back with either h6 or f6. This knight might get trapped. G4 threatens to trap the knight. Let's kick it this way. So, just puts it there. Maybe he had no other place to put it. Do I want to trade? Could push on with f5, threaten to take here and open up this line. So if I go f5, he takes the knight. I take the pawn, hitting the queen, he takes back, and I take his pawn with my rook hitting his queen again. He can move the knight with check, but I can take it. That's not so great though. I go here, he takes the knight. If I have to take back, and this pawn is still hanging. Yeah, let's try this. This pawn will have 3 pieces attacking at queen, knight, and pawn, and will be defended only by queen and knight. After an exchange on after an exchange on f4. If he doesn't take on f4, say he moves his knight back, I'll just take here. Open up that line against the queen. Yeah, so I get that pawn, and I get a tempo on the queen. So, I mean, it's even. It's an even trade with the pawns. I'm attacking the f-pawn here. And, I mean, I could attack the f-pawn here with the queen. The h-pawn is defended. This pawn will be hanging, so no. Just wonder, is there something active I can do with the queen? I guess this is active. Gets me off of this square with a tempo. It is threatening on f2. And then I can bring a rook over to defend my e-pawn. I'd like to keep that pawn if I can. He might push the h-pawn. I'll just take. Because it displaces the queen a bit. I'll just take here too. Not sure what his follow-up idea is here. It's just an even position. I could check here and get the queens off. I don't mind that. And one of the things that's wrong with the one of the things I don't like about the London system is that it does often lead to drawish positions. This wasn't a true London system, though. He was playing the Jobava attack. But it did lead to the same kind of even position. So I could push here. Just give myself a little more space on the king side. And yeah, let's bring the other rook over. So now he's got a couple of loose pawns here. So let's block that pawn first. And we can check here. Okay, can I get an endgame? I get a little more active here. He didn't bother to defend his pawns. Is he hoping to win on time? Not a good idea. This is a pretty easy position to play. Okay, I got to make sure there's not a stalemate here. I go forward, and he still has one square he can go to, then I can step forward. Lol, I'm tired. Why did I give? Yeah, why did I give 2 pawns for nothing? Good reason. Good question. Let's go back and look at that. I mean, my king was in a good position anyway here, had activity. So attack this pawn. I attacked this pawn, he defended it. I attacked this pawn. Oh, we need to do this on the analysis board. He needs to defend. I could still keep running after the pawns, but he could go for counterplay if I do this. This might get dangerous because he can sneak in this way. And his pawns are very close. Oh, look at that. If it goes like that, I queen first and stop him. So maybe it's still a win. That's a very risky way to play. I don't know if I would have done that. But it is a good thing to have your king in an advanced position here. So this is a good end game for me. I don't know if it's really winning. Anyway, let's see if we can get another game here. Let's do a rapid game this time. Okay, let's start with c4. I think I've done e4 and d4 recently. Oh, look at that, 1942 to 1942. Evenly rated. You rarely see that in these rapid games. It's so close. The English opening against the English. Should I just go back to a d4 opening and make it a Queen's Indian? Okay, I'm going to go slow here. I would have liked to have gotten in f3 and e4, but it looked a bit dangerous once he had opened up this diagonal for the queen to come out and check. It's a little hard to get in. So if I still want to go for that f3 idea, I would have to put my knight here, which would block in my bishop, momentarily at least. I can't move the bishop out first because he's already got his bishop on this diagonal. So I guess I'll just do normal development. This looks a lot like a Nimzo Indian, actually, except he hasn't played the pin. But yeah, if he does that, this looks like a Nimzo Indian defense variation where he's fianchettoed this bishop rather than going with the center pawn pushes, which can still come later. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes. So I might just take here so that I don't have to worry about this take and being distracted. But on the other hand, if he takes, it's a bit of a tempo loss for him. So let's not do that right away. Just unpin the knight. So if his knight hops in here, I still can't take it. If his knight hops in here, I can move my knight away at least. Here's an idea. I could bring this knight back now, defending here and getting out of the way of this f3 push. If I kick this bishop, where is it going? Is it going back? Or is it going to trade itself off? Can't go here, so it would have to go back to e7. It's not a bad square for it, though, so let's do this knight evolution. I can forcibly unpin my knight, though, which is kind of nice. Force him to either take or unpin. Goes there. So do I want to take with this knight? Where's it going after that? It's looking at this square. Yeah, let's take with the knight. This is a good diagonal for the bishop. Let's see if he castles into it. He does. Okay, let's kick this bishop now. Need to develop my dark squared bishop. Maybe put it on b2 here. And put a rook on the c file. Get some action going on the c file. I should be a little bit careful here, actually. I'm just recognizing My king side is completely empty of pieces. But that's not doing much there, so let's go with bishop b2 like I wanted. Bishop b2 and rook c1. I don't know, I might have said b7 and c8, but you know, that's what I meant. You know what I meant. Take with the rook or the bishop. I guess either piece is going to have to move again when he puts his knight there. Aha, so he's looking to get a c5 push in anyway. So if I play f3 here, and keep his knight from coming to these squares, the knight could still go here. Drop the bishop back this way to look at this square. If his knight is here, I don't want it coming here. If he pushes this pawn forward, I take. He takes, I take, and then he takes with either the bishop or the rook. He's hitting this pawn. I could go here right away, actually. This is kind of interesting. Still f3, e4 is something I would like to get. Maybe I should start with bishop to d2 to open up this c file, make his pawn push less easy. You have to be careful about the lineup of pieces on the d file too, though. I mean, at the moment the knight defends the bishop. Yeah, he's going to make me choose. Do I want to allow that? Oh, I have another option here. I could play f4. Then if he takes off my bishop, then if he takes off my knight, I can take back with a pawn. Get a strong attack here on the f-file, queen and bishop ready to jump into the king's side. And this knight being chased away could be good. Way to meet that threat. Yeah, so he goes there. Should I just take it? Then I'll lose my light squared bishop. I could bring my queen out. Attacking that knight. He could play f5 though, defending it. Let's just drop back. Knight to c6 is a threat. Knight c6 hitting the queen, and this is hanging. He takes, I take, and then he saves the knight. Looks like I'm going there anyway. So at least I win that bishop. Unless there's some trick he can do with this knight. I mean, I don't win the bishop, I win a trade. I get a trade in. Actually, this knight is going to be short of squares. But after the trade, he can play f5 to defend that knight. I can take and leave him with two weak pawns. That's a possibility, or I could keep the bishops on. Ah, he just went there. Doesn't that lose a piece? Well, maybe I have to give a piece back eventually. I don't know. I have queen f3, defending the bishop and defending the knight and looking at the bishop. So he steps aside, hitting my rook. Yeah, the rook does want to go up to f2 or over to e1. Not sure. Now if I could move my knight with tempo, I could get my bishop to that square. That would be pretty good. Bishop c6. Okay, I'm dropping back here. Let's see, queen d2, pawn a4, pawn b5. I need queen d2 to defend the b. Oh no, the b pawn is defended. I could go a4 and b5 immediately. I could push the d pawn forward and set my queen on this diagonal here. That looks good too. Now the queen is defending there. Okay, but he's just down a piece here, and my knight can always come back to this square. I was a little bit worried it would run out of squares to go to. So I dropped his queen back. So what's the good way to continue here? I mean, I kind of like pushing this pawn forward just because it opens up this diagonal for my dark squared bishop. Which has been sitting behind enemy lines all this time. Well, actually, not behind enemy lines, behind my lines. Blocked in by my own pawns. So if I go here first, he'll have to take a move to defend. Or I could do the check first. Yeah, I realized the bishop is controlling this square and the knight's controlling this square, so he's limited into how he can defend that defend on g7 there. Rook g8, I guess, or queen d7. Yeah, back where it was. Back where it came from. So I take, queen takes, bishop takes, king takes. I just bring one more piece in. And can't easily move it. And the bishop is controlling g8. Gonna be hard for him to bring another piece in to defend it even. Rook there, okay. So now I can move my queen with tempo because the rook will hit his bishop. I mean, the bishop, the bishop will hit his rook. Yeah, he'll probably just move the rook to the side anyway. That's what he wants to do. Can I do something here? I can hit the queen again by moving my knight. And let's just see where he's going with that. See where he's going with that rook. There. Just trade off a defender. I want to give my bishop a retreat square. I want to kind of unwind from this position a little bit. It was always a bit annoying to have the queen and bishop opposite my queen and bishop, so if I move my queen away, this bishop is left here loose. Now I've got a pin on his bishop. Because his queen is undefended. Yeah, maybe I should have just taken this pawn here. Yeah, queen and bishop line up like that. Well, it's true the queen is defended now. Let's go back this way. Maybe I'll pin it with the rook. He decided to save his pawn. Yeah, so I'm going here with the knight. The queen is needed to defend here, so the queen has to move again. Put the bishop here, where the knight was. Just some maneuvering here, I guess. Ah, it goes there. Knight to d7 is what I'm thinking. With the fork, force a trade. My queen's protected. Well, he's not giving up easily. He could have resigned after losing a piece. But he's defending. He is defending, yeah. So still knight here. So he doesn't want to give up the bishop. For the knight. I guess no reason for him to. Okay, I'm going to bring my king forward. I bring the bishop back here and push this pawn forward. Pawn push, he takes, I take with the bishop. Pawn push, he takes my knight first, I take back. Then he takes. I can put my bishop here and then win this pawn at least. Oh, I'm overlooking the obvious. There was a check. He noticed. He noticed the obvious. That's too bad. Like a mind reader. Just gaining more space here. I can force a trade this way. I think this would be convenient. Get rid of one of them bishops. The bishop pairs is always a dangerous thing to have. Working against you. Yeah, so now his king can go to the light squares. I'm going to bring my king forward one more step. Okay, let's bring my knight around somewhere. Well, also clearing this space for his bishop. For my bishop. He can back down, but then he will lose that pawn. Okay, so now I can come in here. And I can play this, and then it's all over. It's 5 pawns versus 5 pawns, and with the extra piece, I should have no trouble converting that one. Anyway, interesting games. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.